The Women Against Feminism movement has garnered a lot of support in the last few months, and predictably there has been a huge backlash from feminists determined not to respect the viewpoints of their fellow women, such as Rebecca Brink, the owner of the feminist blog flareandfade.com, who created a series of images mocking Women Against Feminism. Let's start by looking at a few of the real Women Against Feminism. I don't need feminism because I can take responsibility for my actions. I believe in real equality. I am not a victim. I respect men and don't need to belittle them to empower myself. It has turned from a rights movement to a sexist, corrupt, hateful organization. This is what an anti-feminist looks like. I don't need feminism because my self-worth is not directly tied to the size of my victim complex. As a woman in the Western world, I am not oppressed, and neither are you. I don't need feminism because I am an adult who is capable of taking responsibility for myself and my actions. I define myself and derive my value by my own standards. I don't need to be empowered. I am not a target for violence, and there is no war against me. I respect men. I refuse to demonize them and blame them for my problems. So those are a few examples of actual anti-feminist girls who are fed up with a philosophy that claims to speak for them, that claims to stand up for them, but in all actuality seeks to paint women as the perpetual victims of a patriarchal culture of systematic misogyny. Now, let's see what Rebecca Brink came up with to satirize these women. So here's Rebecca's first image, and she wears a series of wigs throughout these images, so don't be confused. I don't need feminism because I have poor reasoning skills, and I have failed to see aggressive or defensive feminist rhetoric within the context of centuries of ongoing violence against women. So right out of the gate, she plays the victim card. Centuries of ongoing violence against women. Oh my God, centuries of ongoing violence? Well, what sort of violence is happening against women right now in the Western world? Women are certainly not murdered as much as men. 76.8% of homicide victims are male. Of course, 90% of murderers are male, too. Men are usually the ones who kill, and they're usually the ones who are killed, at least in America. You're far more likely to face a violent end as a man than as a woman. Not only that, but only men are eligible for the draft. So if we need some young people thrown into the meat grinder of war to protect us from some dire new foreign threat, you can bet that those young people will be male. I'm not trying to erase violence against women, but in my opinion, to focus on it explicitly as if it were all that truly mattered, as if it were only a female problem, that's just dishonest. As is the excusal of violent feminist rhetoric such as the Kill All Men hashtag by saying that we should view such things as reactive to the patriarchy and therefore somehow justified. Listen up. Violent rhetoric is never really justified. Even if we were talking about a group of black slaves in 1840 who were going around saying, "Kill all white people," I would still oppose their rhetoric. Have they been subjugated and enslaved by white people? Yes. Does that give them the right to promote genocide? No. It's perfectly possible to stand up for your rights without becoming a bigot. It's perfectly possible to fight against oppression without lashing out against everyone who bears even a superficial resemblance to your oppressor. I don't need feminism because all the really bad stuff that happens to women only happens to women in other countries, right? And who cares about other countries anyway, right? I consider myself an anti-feminist, but if we're talking about China or India or somewhere like that, then I would fully support a woman's suffrage movement with the aims of giving women equal social and political footing with men. Why would I not? The point that anti-feminists like myself tend to make is not that feminism has never been useful or it is not useful in certain contexts. Our point is that here in the West, it's obsolete, and its obsolescence is apparent to anyone who has seen the sort of things modern feminists bitch about, like the imaginary wage gap that all but vanishes when you factor in variables other than gender, poor media representation, not enough female engineers, etc. These are not real issues. These are the pet projects of spoiled brats who need to recognize their own privilege before lecturing others about recognizing theirs. Women face issues that are unique to women. There's no doubting that. Just as men face issues that are unique to men, and fat people face issues unique to fat people, black people face issues unique to black people, and so on and so forth. We all have hurdles to overcome, stigmas that hold us back, problematic ideas that hold us down. No one is exempt from that. And I'm tired of feminist rhetoric that tries to sell us the lie that women are so disproportionately disadvantaged and oppressed that we need to all call ourselves feminists and agree with every line of bullshit that comes down the feminist pipeline. Video games are sexist! No, you're just stupid. I don't need feminism because the only way I think I can get along in this world is by pandering to the status quo and shitting on other women. So disagreeing with feminism is synonymous in Rebecca's mind with shitting on other women? Hey, they'll pay good money to see that in Germany. It's ironic because Rebecca is the one shitting on other women by making these ridiculously inept attempts at satire. Shouldn't feminists want to empower all women to have a voice, not just women who agree with them? Shouldn't feminists seek to empower these women who don't want to be seen as victims? Shouldn't feminists applaud women against feminism as proof of feminism's efficacy? I don't need feminism because I spent my childhood around people who told me that women who had sex before marriage were sluts and whores, and now I'm afraid of my own body. It's ironic because if anyone is scared of sex, it's feminists. They're the ones who want to so broadly redefine rape that any woman who has sex that she regrets the next day can claim rape. And if anyone criticizes her for it, they're sexist and support rape culture. I don't speak for all gender egalitarians, but my position on sex is this. Anyone should be able to have as much or as little sex as they want to with whoever is willing. And if other people judge you for the amount of sex you have, or who you have it with, or anything else like that, it's your duty to tell those people to fuck off and mind their own business. I don't need feminism because those rape statistics are made up anyway. Shut up, rape victims! There actually are quite a few very erroneous and misleading rape statistics out there, and this is a contentious issue. Not everyone seems to agree on what constitutes rape. And we're not even allowed to have that discussion because feminists view any sort of questioning or ambiguity on the rape issue as inherently misogynistic. I'm opposed to rape, just like everyone else. This is an ad hominem attack against anti-feminists. It's basically saying we support rape. We're against rape victims. This is total nonsense. I don't need feminism because I have magical powers and I made it so that history didn't happen. You're welcome. Look, there's no question whatsoever that women have been historically oppressed. There's no contention there. The question is, are they still being oppressed today in Western democracies where women have the right to vote, the right to run for office, the right to serve in the armed forces, the right to pursue whatever career they wish, the right to get an abortion, the right to ask for a divorce, the right to do anything a man can do? What fundamental human rights are being denied to women in the Western world now? I can't think of any. But that's probably just because I'm a stupid, fedora-wearing, mansplaining, rape-supporting, misogynistic, patriarchal dude bro. I don't need feminism because I equate surviving trauma with being weak, and that's a totally okay way to relate to other people. The problem is that feminism has turned being a woman itself into a trauma. When women talk on feminist forums about being afraid of men in public because of rape and sexual assault, the response of feminism isn't, well, you shouldn't prejudge people based on their sex. Their attitude is, yeah, girl, society needs to change, men are pigs, blah, blah, blah. Maybe society does need to change. I won't deny that there's room for improvement. But no one's best interests are served by fostering a victim mentality, by propagating ideas like, we need to teach men not to rape. Most men already know not to rape. And it's not only men who do rape. And it's not only women who get raped. How is trying to broaden the consent issue to address the problems of all victims, regardless of their gender, how is that anti-woman? I don't need feminism because I'm still a teenager who hasn't entered the workforce yet, and I don't know what constant sexual harassment or watching unqualified people get promoted over me feels like. So basically, Rebecca didn't get the big promotion at work, and she's convinced that it must be sexism. Because, of course, she's the one who can determine how qualified she is and how qualified her coworkers are. And characterizing women against feminism as being all teenagers with no real-world experience, ha! Go to Tumblr. I don't think there's a feminist on there whose age doesn't end in teen. I need feminism because feminists put out. I guess she's satirizing a white male here, you know, the guy who's a feminist because he wants to put his dick in girls who call themselves feminists. And of course she wrote it extra stupid because she's pretending to be a guy in this one, and as we all know, men are fucking idiots. I don't need feminism because I want boys to like me. This is too dumb to even comment on. You get the general idea. The point that I think we should emphasize here is that Rebecca Brink does not know what the fuck she's talking about, and that these satires of women against feminism come from a place that doesn't even seem to understand what women against feminism are actually saying.